Hi, Mary. I know you came from Switzerland many years ago. I'd love to ask you one question.
Go ahead.
Can you answer me which culture you like better, America or Swiss?
Which culture do I like better, American or Swiss?
Yes.
Well, I think there are different things that I like about each of the cultures, probably. I guess overall, I probably, Swiss culture is closer to me than American culture because I grew up in Swiss culture. Even though at home, I guess I kind of had American culture because my mother is American, but all of my friends, all of my schooling was kind of more Swiss culture. And I think one of the biggest differences maybe between, or a big difference between Swiss and American culture is, I think, that I notice is like the consumerism. So in American culture, there's a lot more consumerism, I think anyway, than in Swiss culture, or it used to be that way. It might be changing in Swiss culture a little bit also. But so that, I don't know, doesn't appeal to me so much in American culture. Yeah. How about another question?
Who's next?
Okay.
Do you have another job? What do you do during the day?
Okay, I do have another job. Yes, I have several other jobs. It kind of depends on the time of year what my other job is. Sometimes I teach a journalism class, which is also only part-time, and so journalism to college students. Sometime during the day I spend preparing for teaching. For you. And right now I'm working on a biking guide to New York City. So I spend the day riding my bike and researching bike routes and writing on the computer where I've been and taking pictures of places and trying to put a book together. And then I go for walks and do other things during the day. But those are my jobs. Next question.
Me.
Yes.
My question is, how did you find this job?
How did I find this job? I think I found this job through the internet. And I think I found it through like a job search site called idealist.org. Bless you.
Thank you.
And I initially, actually, many years ago, I applied for a different job here, which would have been an office assistant. So what Yesenia and Cindy did, or do, that was many, many, many years ago. And I didn't get the job. And then many years later, I applied for an English teaching job. And I got that. Yeah. And it was a fun interview. I liked the interview. Michael Hunter interviewed me. It was quite interesting. So, next question.
I have a question.
Okay.
I know you know 4 languages.
Yes.
And how can you remember the vocabulary? Because it's very hard for me. And I want to know, do you have some skill to remember the vocabulary?
I think I do a lot of different things to try to remember vocabulary. One thing I always did, I always do, I guess, is I try to compare the sounds of a new word, so maybe predisposition, to a word I already know. Maybe in a different language. So maybe I would compare predisposition to a word in English, or maybe in German, or Chinese, or Spanish. So that's one thing I do. I also used to, when I was learning languages, would kind of talk to myself in my head usually. But so I would use the vocabulary that I was learning in like conversations. This is something I used to always do when I was riding the bike. So I wouldn't get bored. I would practice my Spanish or my French with the new vocabulary. And I also kept like a journal. So just having like translations, so putting the English word on one side or the Spanish word on one side, depending on the language, and then the translation on the other side. And I read a lot. I read a lot. And depending on how dedicated I am, I look up words and try to learn them. So reading, I think, is something very important.
Read the book or the vocabulary?
No, well, a book or an article, but a text. So not just vocabulary, because I don't think you can't learn just vocabulary without context. But if you read books or newspaper articles or whatever you're interested in, or it could be magazines, it could be anything. So if you have a topic you're interested in, you just read about that. And you look up the words that you need to look up to understand it. But you don't look up all the words. Just look up the words that you need to understand it. So then the reading is also interesting to you and fun. If you look up too many words, then it's not very fun. But I think anyway, for me.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mary, you teach us for a long time, but could you mind to tell us what is your hobby to us?
What is my hobby? What are my hobbies? Well, one hobby that you probably know about is that I bike. Bike riding, cycling, riding a bike. I use it for transportation, but I also do it for fun. I also do a lot of things outdoors, whatever that might be. So I go to the park a lot and go for walks because I like the outdoors. I also read a lot, I think, and I read fiction or nonfiction. It doesn't really matter. I kind of depends on my mood. And I dance. I guess that's also a hobby. I do modern dance. So I practice a lot for that. And then sometimes I perform. So,
I didn't know about that.
and I'm not doing it right now, but a hobby kind of is also learning languages because I like it a lot. So I always would like to learn a new language if I have time. Whenever I have time again, I will try to learn a new language. So, thank you for your questions.
Thank you for your answers, teacher.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Time to get back to work.
Time to go back to work.
Bye-bye.